didn't imagine the connection. Your heart just knows what your mind keeps trying to forget. You've cried, you've prayed, you've tried to move forward, but something still pulls you back. When God tells you they're not gone for good, it's not just a feeling, it's a message that sits in your spirit and won't leave. You might not talk about it out loud anymore, but deep down, you're still holding on to what God hasn't fully released. That silence you feel from them, it hurts, but the silence from God, that's what really keeps you up at night. You ask yourself, why can't I let them go? Why do I still care? Why does it still feel unfinished? You've seen people walk away and move on without hesitation, but for you, it's different. The love didn't end just because the communication did. The pain lingers not because you're weak, but because something in you still believes there's more to the story. You're tired of guessing, tired of feeling foolish for believing. But at the same time, something in your spirit says this isn't over. Maybe God is working behind the scenes in ways you don't yet understand. Maybe this pause isn't rejection, but protection. You tried to walk away, but your heart wouldn't follow. He has made everything beautiful in its time. Also, He has put eternity in their hearts. You told yourself it was over. You said the goodbye, you deleted the messages, and you tried to start fresh. But no matter how many times you walked away, something inside of you wouldn't follow. It wasn't just memories holding you back. It was a deep inner sense that it wasn't time to let go. God may be using this delay to teach you how to trust His timing, not just your emotions. When something isn't finished, He doesn't give peace about walking away. What you're feeling could be His way of saying, not yet. Not because He's trying to confuse you, but because He's still working behind the scenes on things you can't see. You've questioned yourself over and over again. You've wondered if you're holding on too long or if you're just being emotional. But your spirit knows the difference between emotional attachment and spiritual awareness. You're not broken for feeling this way. You're just sensitive to what hasn't been completed yet. When God tells you they're not gone for good, He often allows your heart to stay engaged because the story isn't done. You're not lost in the past. You're connected to something that still has purpose. Don't ignore what your heart keeps noticing. You've blocked them, ignored the memories, but their name still shows up in your spirit. Many waters cannot quench love, nor can the floods drown it. You've done everything you thought would help you forget. You cut off contact, avoided certain places, and buried the memories deep. But somehow, their name still finds you, in quiet moments, in unexpected thoughts, even in prayer. It's like your spirit won't let you erase them. God may be reminding you that love formed in truth doesn't fade with time or silence. When love is rooted in something divine, it doesn't wash away easily. He could be showing you that this connection wasn't just emotional, it was meaningful and still matters in His plan for your life. You wrestle with this all the time. Part of you wants to forget. Another part wonders if remembering is disobedience. But it's not wrong to remember someone who meant something real, especially when your spirit still stirs at the thought of them. When God tells you they're not gone for good, He often allows their name to stay alive in your spirit because He's not finished writing that chapter. Pay attention to the way He brings them to mind. It could be confirmation, not confusion. You felt peace with others, but never the same peace you had with them. And the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and minds through Christ Jesus. You've tried to connect with others. You've had deep conversations, shared laughter, and maybe even love. But something was different. The peace you felt with that one person, the calm, the comfort, it hasn't been repeated. And you keep wondering why. God may have allowed that unique peace because it was His stamp on the connection. His peace is never random. It marks people, places, and moments that are aligned with His will. If the peace hasn't shown up again in other relationships, it could be because He hasn't replaced that original connection. This makes you question yourself constantly. You don't want to compare people or live in the past. But it's hard not to notice what's missing when your spirit once felt settled. You're not wrong for longing for a peace that felt right with them. When God tells you they're not gone for good, the lack of peace in others could be His way of protecting you from settling too soon. That familiar peace might be the sign that your spirit is still aligned with what He's preparing to restore. You pray to let them go, but end up praying for them instead. But I say to you, love your enemies, bless those who curse you, do good to those who hate you, and pray for those who spitefully use you and persecute you. You kneel down with the intention to let go. You start your prayer asking God to help you forget, to move forward, to release the weight. But somewhere in the middle of your words, your heart shifts. You stop praying about them and start praying for them. God may be showing you that He still wants you spiritually connected through prayer, even if not yet physically connected. When you pray for someone's healing, strength, and peace, it's not just kindness, it's intercession. And intercession often points to deeper spiritual work still in progress. You felt conflicted about this. You wonder if you're holding on too much. You ask yourself why you can't just focus on yourself and leave it in the past. But not all love is about holding on physically. Sometimes it's about carrying someone in prayer because God still has them in your future. When God tells you they're not gone for good, the urge to keep praying for them isn't weakness, it's wisdom. It's God's way of keeping the spiritual door open until the time is right. You can't picture forever without them still in it somehow. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. You've imagined the future. You've thought about your career, your family, your growth. But even in those forward-looking thoughts, their face appears. You don't mean to include them. They just show up, quietly, naturally, like a piece of your future that's still unfinished. God may be planting that image not to torment you, but to prepare you. He sometimes gives us glimpses of the future in ways our mind doesn't understand, but our spirit accepts. If they keep appearing in your hopes, it could be because He still has purpose tied to that connection. You've told yourself to stop thinking like that. You try to redirect your thoughts to stay grounded. But part of you wonders if imagining them in your future is less about fantasy and more about faith. You're not alone in this. Many people feel that tension. When God tells you they're not gone for good, He often allows them to stay in your future vision because He's still shaping that path. Trust what your spirit keeps seeing, even if it's hard to explain right now. Healing doesn't always look like forgetting. Sometimes it looks like quietly believing that God still has more to do with what feels unfinished. If your heart is still connected, if your prayers haven't stopped, and if your spirit still finds peace at the thought of them, it's okay. God sees every feeling and every prayer, and He's not ignoring what He started. If the content inspired you, please like, comment, and subscribe to Pure Inspirational so others can be encouraged just like you. Thank you for being here and trusting God even when it's hard. Keep holding on to what God placed in your heart, and don't be afraid to believe in restoration when He says the story isn't finished.